And welcome to the Ask Us Sports Podcast, where it doesn't smell like Teen Spirit tonight. Viggy, it smells like a blowout. Arsenal loses 5-0 over the weekend to Man City. You know what happened. You know the vibes. Chelsea tied, but they were down a man. But Arsenal got their asses kicked, Andy. Absolutely destroyed. Are you regretting that pick yet? And how was your weekend?
Weekend was great, Shane. No, not regretting that pick at all. I'm with my boys. Unless we get relegated, then they have the right to choose another team. But Arsenal's not getting relegated. Kind of expected a poor showing against Manchester City. Was hoping it was not going to be a poor showing, but kind of expected it. Just not off to a good start to the season. We'll have an easier schedule. I mean, we played Chelsea and Manchester City, two of our first three opponents this season. And while I say a very underrated Brentford, by the way, Brentford can play. So three tough games to start the season. The schedule should lighten up. We just got a couple big signings in the transfer deadline. So I believe that really you can only go up right now. So I'm okay.
Fair enough. Ken, how was the weekend, my man?
It was good. Vic, did you notice he went straight into asking me how my weekend was, whereas he started by dumping on Arsenal for you? So he clearly
all right. He's got to take advantage of it while he can.
He only cares about my weekend, clearly. But it was great. I had a good time. I met Paul Pierce at a card show, got a jersey signed. That was
you spoke a blunt with him too?
I certainly wish I could have, but no, unfortunately, no. I do wonder what that would have cost, but just the forked over like a small fortune for the jersey signing. But it was good. It's nice to meet a childhood legend or favorite.
Did you buy the jersey previously, or was it something you already?
No, it's a jersey I've had for a long time, so I went with it. It was like the Reebok Authentic, so it's long out of date.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's awesome, though. I saw the jersey. It was great. So tonight we've got a lot of things to go over, so we'll jump right in. Instead of quick hits around the league, we're actually going to do a pop culture night where Ken and I are going to talk about some upcoming movies. Vig and I are gonna update on Big Brother, and then Ken and I are going to update on the challenge, and then we'll jump right back into your regular segments. So Ken, top movie coming out this year. What are you looking forward to seeing?
You're going to hate on my recommendation, Shane, because you're like that Hollywood box office simp who likes everything that's got like big explosions and fancy actors and like big names. And I'm like the guy who likes all the weird dark shit like Hereditary and creepy stuff that freaks you out. But I went in and I looked at this and I was like, okay, Shane's going to make me talk about movies. I have not the slightest of ideas what the fuck is coming out. But anyway, I did a search and I was like stunned to see, wait a second, there's a Matrix 4 coming? When the hell did that happen? And when was this announced? Because I just saw it, like, holy shit, a Matrix 4 with Keanu Reeves in it? Interesting. Okay. So that got my interest piqued because big fan of the original Matrix. Very, very intellectual movie for the smart people. And I guess it comes out December 22nd, 2021. So I will be very excited for that one. No doubt about it. Also, I mentioned the whole horror movie thing. I will see Halloween Kills. It'll probably be terrible, but I am going to see it. Big Michael Myers fan over here. And curiosity peaked a little bit around The Batman. I don't really know what that means, but it's Robert Pattinson. Maybe you'll enlighten me a little bit if you have that information, but I'm a Batman guy, so I don't like superhero movies, but I will make an exception for Batman.
Oh, absolutely. And one movie that I'm looking forward to, I talked to Ken about it. Ken's not a superhero guy. However, Out of Bagels is actually one of our top listeners, is actually a big is a big Tom Holland guy. Apparently, he was an extra in Cherry, which is Tom Holland's show on Apple TV, I think, which is hilarious. But no, I'm super looking forward to Spider-Man. They're opening up the multiverse, so we're gonna see Tobey Maguire. Apparently, we're seeing William Dafoe as Green Goblin. It seems we definitely heard the Green Goblin laugh.
What the hell does that mean? We're gonna see Tobey Maguire. It's the same person.
So Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man hasn't been in Spider-Man since the early 2000s. He's coming back for this. Original Doctor Octopus is coming back.
So are they linear? Are they canon?
So it is canon because the multiverse is opening up. In the trailer, if you watch, Doctor Strange is doing a spell and opens the multiverse. So you're getting all of these old characters coming back now.
Oh, Doctor Strange.
So it's like multiple universe Spider-Mans.
So Doctor Strange messed it all up. I gotcha.
Yes. And it looks fantastic. I was super excited by the the CGI looked good. Everything looked good. And what's his name? Guy that played Electro, Jamie Foxx, is also going to be back in this. He's reprising his role as Electro. So, I mean, the cast is star-studded all around. Going to be very good. The Batman that you alluded to, actually, Ken, is going to have Andy Serkis as Alfred, Robert Pattinson as Batman. It's got Paul Dano as Riddler, and Colin Farrell is actually playing Penguin.
And Jeffrey Wright is Gordon from
yes,
Westworld.
They're actually, like, the cast is, I'm going through it right now. The cast is actually very good.
My man John Turturro's in it. Very nice. Big fan.
So there's actually, like, some really, really good stuff there. One other movie that's not superhero related that I'm super excited to see. I really do like Broadway theater, and Dear Evan Hansen is coming to theaters. They actually made an actual movie off the Broadway play, and I'm super excited for that. I'm a big Ben Platt guy. I didn't watch him in Glee that much, but I love his voice.
You kind of glanced over that, but I bet a lot of listeners would be surprised to hear that factoid.
What's that?
That you're a Broadway guy.
I am, and if you go on to my Spotify, a lot of it is actually like Broadway soundtracks. And my number one artist I listened to last year was actually Ben Platt, who is Evan Hansen in Dear Evan Hansen. He was also in Glee.
You guys learned something about Shane this week on the podcast.
My nephew said he never knew that, and he's been in my house when I've listened to the soundtrack. So,
also, speaking of Broadway, Shane, I don't know if you heard that there is a Jackass Forever coming out.
Yes. Interesting. I kind of am interested in seeing that movie, but I don't know is he 50 now, Johnny Knoxville? I don't know what he can.
Oh, I'm on it. He is 50. He is 50. And Steve-O, I don't know. Steve-O's got to be nerfed. He can't do the stuff you do if you're not on some crazy stuff. So.
Oh, yeah. He's definitely not on the drugs he used to be on. Yeah. So it's going to be, I would say that's going to be interesting. And then one other film I'm interested in is Ghostbusters. Only because Bill Murray's coming back reprising his role. And so is, I can't think of his name. Danny Aykroyd. There we go. Yeah, I was going to say the guy that has the vodka. And Paul Rudd's in it too. So. Oh,
okay. Good cast.
Yeah. It looks okay. I mean, it's like Halloween for you. It might be awful, but it's Ghostbusters.
Yeah. It's got Finn from Stranger Things. Finn Wolfhard. Looks all right.
But overall, I mean, there's definitely some good movies coming out. I'll definitely go see some of this superhero stuff with my nephews. I'll have to find someone to go see Dear Evan Hansen with me. Maybe I'll talk Andy into watching it with me over the phone. Right, Andy?
That'd be romantic.
But no, big movies coming. Super excited. Then let's roll right into our Big Brother update. Andy, what are your thoughts so far into the season? I think we're in final 9.
Yeah, man, it's been a crazy it's been quick, Shane. I feel like, we were just doing our initial podcast to start. A little disappointed. Obviously, if you go back and listen to our podcast, Shane and I each picked two individuals for our, what do you call it, fantasy Big Brother, or our final two predictions, if you want.
Yeah, fantasy Big Brother works.
Yeah. So Shane picked Ozza and Derek F, and I picked Xavier and Derek X. Derek X was the first to be evicted of the four players that we chose just this past Thursday. And disappointed, is probably an understatement, Shane, just because I saw it coming, right, when he chose not to play the second high roller.
The wheel.
Yeah, the wheel. He tried to save his coin, or save his BB bucks for the coin of destiny. Just knowing that, like, come on, dude. Like, you, 2 or 3 weeks ago, made a big move as head of household to backdoor Christian, who you already knew that wasn't going to, it wasn't going to go over in the house very well. And that really kind of made him publicly enemy number one when he did that. So with all of the potential scenarios for guys or girls to get off the chopping block, and you choose not to play a game that could give you safety for the week, knowing that you are public enemy number one, and whoever has an opportunity
not
to take
only
you out
him either, also Claire.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me why he felt so comfortable, Shane. And I was kind of screaming at the TV, just saying why. So unfortunately, Derek X is out, and frankly, he deserves to be out because he didn't do what he needed to do. He felt too comfortable, and that's what's going to happen when you feel too comfortable in the Big Brother house. Expect the unexpected. DNA was the first acronym for Big Brother. Do not assume. Do not assume anything. Do not assume that you are safe. Do not assume that you won't be backdoored. And that's what happened. So he's now the second member of the jury.
Yeah. And I mean, that could be said for a lot of the stuff, even the shows that Ken and I watch, The Challenge and Survivor. Don't feel comfortable. Don't assume that you're going to be safe because you're in this alliance. Stuff happens. Backdoors happen all the time. And obviously, Sarah Beth thought it was smart to get rid of Derek X. It was actually probably her worst move in the game, and it's probably going to send her home this week. If you've watched this far, Claire won the coin of destiny, kept Tiffany's noms the same, and it looks like Sarah Beth's going to go home this week, unless there's a big power move, because Xavier's the third nominee if they want to take out Xavier here.
So that's my only concern, and I'm sure you're rooting for that, Shane, because then you would be winning. You would officially.
I am, and I'm not, because Xavier at the very least is very good TV.
Yes,
and I don't want to see this limp into the finale, because I am excited for Survivor. Don't get me wrong. They released the cast yesterday. I've already read all their bios, but I don't want to see this limp into the finale night, and what was a very good season end up ending pretty dry.
See, the thing about Xavier is he's so entrenched in the house with the cookout. It would just be shocking to see him go home as a third nominee. And that
they've got to turn on each other soon, because this isn't a brigade where there's only 4 of them, and all they did was cut the 4th member at final 8, and then the 3 of them rode all the way to final 3. This is a group of 6, so they're going to have to turn on each other soon. And I think it's going to be Tiffany, honestly, because she's not going to want to get rid of Claire yet. She probably feels like Claire's pretty valuable to her as an extra vote, which is smart, right? You want to have someone like that you feel is an extra vote that's in your pocket that's not going to go against you deeper into the game. Whereas Ozza, Big D, Xavier, maybe Hannah are all probably even Kylan would be willing to get rid of Tiffany pretty soon because she's a power player. So it's going to be super interesting seeing this next HOH. I'm almost positive Sarah Beth is gone this week. I already know who won POV. I'm not going to say. You can find on Twitter. It's pretty easy
It's
search.
pretty easy to find out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah,
and that's what I don't want to happen either, is where I'm not watching the episodes. All I'm doing is watching the elimination episode. I want to be able to watch it all and not just have to go on Twitter and find stuff out. But, we'll see what happens. I hope Xavier goes soon so I can win our bet just for bragging rights. The money doesn't matter to me. I just want bragging rights over you.
It doesn't matter either. I mean, I'm more upset about Derek X leaving than Xavier, because I was really enjoying Derek X just in the house. He provided a lot of strategy. He was one of the favorites in the house, to be honest with you. He was well liked. But you know what? Got to root for Xavier now. It sucked because Xavier and Derek X kind of became on two opposite sides.
Well, I don't know if you saw this or not. Real quick before we go to the challenge update with Ken. Xavier was talking with Tiffany the other night, and I was watching the live stream on Paramount Plus, and he told her, he's like, "Oh, I bet you work in the medical field," because she had said something medical related and she hadn't told anyone yet. And Tiffany looked at him and said, "I guarantee you're not a bartender, because I could tell you a drink right now and you don't know how to make it for me." And so he got super flustered, started moping around the house because he's figured out. They know he's not a bartender anymore. They're about to figure out he's a lawyer.
Well, didn't Derek F kind of speculate that Xavier was a lawyer?
Either a lawyer or a doctor, yeah.
Season? Yeah. I mean,
Xavier
was too smart to
Tiffany
be a bartender. Yeah, I think Xavier. Now the third nominee is only for this week, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was part of the
Xavier basically just needs to survive this week, and then I think if he somehow gets head of household this coming Thursday, he might have to look at getting Tiffany out of the house. Whether it's
that's
back
what I'm saying. I think just to end this one, I think
and she's really annoying.
I think this coming week is a pivotal week. You're going to see the cookout start to eat each other.
They're going to have to at some point, whether it's this coming week or the week after. So
this is the week to make a move, and we'll see what happens. Ken, what's going on in the challenge world? Are we liking the season so far, or are you feeling like it's kind of slogging through?
It's going to be like a tale of two shows. I think it's going to be the type of season that you could skip 8 episodes and then start like it's the first episode at episode 9, because they're doing this rookie slaughter that I think they're going to stick to. So the vets have basically all gotten together for the first time in the show's history and decided, let's keep throwing in rookies until we literally cannot help it but to throw in a vet. So far, it's gone well. But there's been some noticeable cracks. Tori has kind of wavered a little bit on that as of last week. She was about to go against the grain and throw in Big T, which talk about just such a stupid move to kind of show your hand and waste it on somebody like Big T just because you wanted to get revenge for what happened last year. It's a little pathetic. And I don't know how you feel about Tori Shane, but I actually think she's immensely overrated, and I think she's mean, and I think she's kind of a bully. I think she's extremely unlikable, and she's making the same exact mistakes this season that she made last season because she's so arrogant. But what frustrates me the most is that people are going to continue to steal her and inflate that helium-filled head of hers even further than it already is each time that she gets stolen.
She so when she was a rookie, I actually liked her a lot.
Yeah.
And her first couple seasons, I actually was like, yeah, I can do this. She's awesome. And I thought War of the Worlds 2, she was very good and very underrated. But I don't know where the disconnect happened with her. I think after
Jordan.
After Jordan, she started getting very arrogant. Maybe taking on that Jordan persona a little bit, where Jordan kind of carries that persona a lot better. I don't know why his heel persona.
Not for nothing, he also won 3 straight seasons.
Well, yeah, and I don't think Tori's won a season
with one hand, and she's never won a season.
2 hands.
What? With 2 hands?
With 2 hands.
Yeah, with 2 hands.
The thing is where I started really disliking her was this off season before this new season started, and she was. I guess there was rumors of her saying she wanted to be on Challenge All-Stars and she deserved to be on Challenge All-Stars. Maybe she felt like that was an easier season to win, but she hasn't really done anything to make me be like, oh, she should be on All-Stars. Is more Anissa pushing her to go on because her and Anissa are the really good friends for whatever reason.
Yeah, I know. I can't really stand either one, to be honest with you. I'm kind of sick of seeing Anissa continue to clog up the television, and she refuses to do any physical activity in the offseason to prepare herself for the show. Which is
I think Nani has actually grown on me a lot more than most of these contestants. I was never really a big Nani fan until recently.
Yeah, Nani and Casey, I think, have both kind of grown on me quite a bit, I think, as far as – and so has Amber B. I kind of like how she has a chip on her shoulder.
I do like I liked Amber B in Big Brother as well.
Yeah,
I just recently rewatched her season. And I thought she was good.
I think this inevitable veteran war that's going to come is going to really hit heavy, and I'm kind of hoping to see like a little bit of infighting amongst the people that would be Big Brother, amongst See,
I'm interested in seeing. I guess I want to see how Kyle and CT play it because they play such a similar in the middle kind of game right now.
I honestly see Kyle, CT, and Devin forming this trio. I don't know if that's true, but they did it a little bit last season with all the people that they're in an alliance with now. So I could see them. And if those three are able to swing like Corey and Nelson with them, because Corey and Nelson are not going to want to go with Fessy. That's for sure. That's been made very clear. So I'm thinking if CT, Corey, and Devin can bring in Nelson and Corey, they're going to get the Amandas. They're going to get the Tories with that, and Fessy's going to be left with.
That's an elimination I'd love to see. Amanda versus Tori. Amanda's grown on me this season, and we talked about that.
Yeah,
previously.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that she does something to screw over Fessy because I would really kind of be looking forward to that for sure.
I think Fessy's honestly like I don't love him as a competitor, but I do think he's good TV and he's a good villain.
I feel that way about Josh. Not that he's a good villain, that he's good TV.
Yeah. Josh is good too if you like watching him cry all the time. It's so funny.
The most frustrating part of the season was that they got Kels, who was probably the best rookie they've had in a long time, and he went home so early. He might have even been the best rookie male since Turbo.
I was going to say, I would love – well, I almost feel like who did he face that elimination? He faced
Ed from the Circle.
Berna, right?
Ed Eason from the Circle.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I don't know why that wasn't a physical elimination. I feel like they should have made – usually they rig it for players they feel like are going to be, big stars.
See, Shane, I thought about that too, but they're not going to do that if they want to get behind the rookie slaughter. They would want to do what they could to get Kels out.
True. I didn't think of it that way.
If that's true, like if they want do they want to have a good rookie storyline, or do they want this vet thing to happen? And if they wanted the vet thing to happen, I could see them giving Kels a puzzle on purpose.
Yeah, and Kels is going to be one of those rookies that I feel like is going to have to come back because he was pretty promising.
They did a good job with rookie males this year between Kels and Corey Lay and Emmanuel. I think Emmanuel is sneaky good.
So, do you want me to burst your bubble on Emmanuel?
Uh-oh.
So I was on Twitter today. You know me being the Twitter sleuth I am. And I found out that he was meeting up with Tori in Romania today.
Oh, great. Who doesn't? She gets I don't want to say it, but yeah.
But I'm excited for. I mean, that's what you are thinking right now are pretty much what the comments were under the pictures. So,
I mean, like, my God, that's like Fessy, Kels, Jordan, keep going.
Well, one of the comments was funny. It said Tori was just making her rounds on her rookie for the season.
I know, because now she's with Ed.
Yeah.
Although Corey Lay had some funny heat on Twitter towards her, said that the one conversation they showed on TV between Tori and Ed was more than she talked to Corey the entire time they were together. So Corey was salty to Tori about that.
See, one last thing before we move on to Viggy Betts. But Corey Lay's another rookie that I really like, and I'd love to see come back.
He's a powerhouse.
I don't know how you feel about Corey Lay, but
I think he's a powerhouse.
Yeah,
And he's from a show I have never heard of in a million years. What the hell?
It's a Netflix show. I've never heard of it
What
either.
is something Christmas?
12 Days of Christmas. It's like a dating show, I think.
Oh my god, they've literally picked up that's from the scrap heaps. But I like the guy. I'm a good call on the casting choice.
Well, one other thing, I guess, before we move on, Netflix has their own version of the challenge coming up for all of their reality TV shows.
Really?
Yeah.
So like The Circle and that
The Circle, that show that Corey Lay's from.
And
all of that.
Oh. I haven't watched enough.
That's coming soon. I think that comes next month.
Have you watched The Circle?
I haven't, but I heard it's good TV.
I've heard that's the best one.
But so I've heard Ed Eason and Corey Lay could be confirmed for that show. So we'll see.
I would think at this point.
But moving on, let's go ahead and get our weekly NRFI update from our man Viggy Betts.
Thank you, Shane. So, yeah, it's been a great week in the NRFI world and in the Viggy Betts world in general. A couple updates. I put out a tweet this morning to my Viggy Nation followers, just kind of summarizing the NRFI record and trends. So the biggest thing for me here is transparency, always, whether we win or lose. And we've been winning right now, so that makes things even better. So we're just under 55% for the season. We are at 66% since the Viggy chart has been implemented right around the All-Star break. And since, well, I'll just say in our last 10 NRFIs, we're at 80%. So we've won 8 of our last 10. We have 2 NRFIs today. The Braves Dodgers, that's Charlie Morton and Walker Buehler. Walker Buehler is just lights out at home. One of the best NRFI records to date at home. So looking forward to that. Hopefully the Braves will score in innings 2 through 9, but not in the first inning. And then the last one, the one that actually starts before the Braves and Dodgers, a late addition, is the Brewers and the Giants. The Brewers with Brandon Woodruff, he grades a 10 out of 10 in the Viggy chart, while Johnny Cueto, who was supposed to start Monday, kind of fell ill a little bit, did not test positive for COVID-19. He did, however, get the green light to pitch this evening. So we are full go with that one. So we have 2 NRFIs for this evening. And your boy was entered in a Elite Cappers Cup tournament. So this is the first time I've ever participated in a tournament of I believe there's 30 cappers. So 30 cappers on Twitter. They're all great. Hopefully I'm the winner. I want to bring it home for Viggy Nation. It's a 7-day, do your best, win all 3 plays every day, win as much as possible, be up however many units you are. It's a leaderboard of how well you're doing, how many units. It's a unit leaderboard, if you will. So right now, after 1 day, I'm in 5th place out of 30 teams or out of 30 cappers. And hopefully we're going to continue forward. 3 plays a day. Can be any plays you want as long as they're between minus 150 and plus 300 on the line scale. We had 3 plays tonight. One of them, an unfortunate beat with Xander Bogaerts. I had the Xander Bogaerts over 1.5 total bases. He singled in the first inning, did not advance any farther, and then was removed from the game right afterwards in the second inning after testing positive for COVID-19. Unfortunately, that's going to be a loss for me. That's how it works in the betting world. That's how it works in the gambling world. With these prop bets, if they're taken out of the game, if they started and they participated and they leave the game for any reason and you didn't cash your bet, it's a loss. So that's unfortunate. More than likely would have cashed that. He would have had 3 or 4 more at-bats off a pitcher he hits 407 against coming in to get on base at least one more time. So that's really unfortunate. Bryce Harper over 1.5 total bases was an easy cash, getting on base with a single in a second at bat, and then following that up with with a Andrew McCutchen home run. So going all the way from first to home, cashing that, and then we have the Braves, Dodgers, and RFI this evening at 10:10 Eastern time. Hopefully that one will cash. So we have 2 out of 3, just like we did last night. 4 out of 6 in the first 2 days would not be bad at all. We'd be up about 2 units. We probably will maintain our 5th, 6th place spot. But it's a marathon, not a sprint. We have a 7-day tournament. This is the end of day 2 coming up. 5 more days to go. The goal, Ken, is really to just not fuck it up too much. If I can win 2 out of 3 every day and then have a couple days where I get all 3 bets right, hopefully 2 or 3 of them, or 2 out of the 3 or all 3 of them are plus money. That's as good as you can do, right? So that's where we are.
Avoid the Red Sox because of especially for prop bets. From what I've heard, it's been an ugly one.
I'll say that.
Couple of relievers.
Was not aware of any COVID issues on the Red Sox coming into today. That's unfortunate, man. Like,
you didn't hear about the 9 people
I did not hear anything about the Red Sox battling any COVID issues, Shane. I did not.
Thanks for the heads up, Shane. Thanks for the
heads up. Also, I sent you the bets early on, but early in the day. You could have told me.
But I'm experiencing a little technical difficulties with my camera. I am here.
You won't be able to see my beautiful face. You lost this Hawaiian shirt, guys.
It's I'm right where I'm supposed to be, the top left corner of the screen.
But moving on, staying in the technically in the Red Sox game. We've got Wander Franco, who's closing in on Mickey Mantle's on-base streak of 36 games. Wander's actually at 31 now. He got a hit today. Okay. During that streak, he's slashing .319 and .911, 3 homers, 20 RBIs, only 20. Would you guys consider the man, the myth, the legend, Wander Franco, the best prospect in baseball or the best young player in baseball currently?
It's the next wave, right? Because this is kind of like, and I'm starting to notice this from my card days. Every couple of years, we cycle through the next generation of big league, big prospect call-ups that are the new faces of baseball. A couple of years back, it was Bellinger and Judge. It was Acuna and Soto. And now we're going to do the Wander Franco thing and Kalenic, and coming up soon, Julio Rodriguez will be up there. But yes, I do think Wander is going to be there. He's good, man. He looks freaking good. Sometimes these prospects, they get this really strong pedigree and it doesn't always come together, or they don't look the part. Like guys like Giolito take a really long time, but not Wander. He's coming out. He looks great. The thing that's really crazy is that his triple slash line 272, 333, 441, which has gone up, I believe, after tonight, with 6 home runs over 234 plate appearances. That's a pretty good triple slash line for a rookie. And you got to remember that comes after a brutal opening month to the season for him. That's only 56 games too. So it went up in a hurry from him, frankly, going on this absurdly ridiculous run. And the stat that really kind of blew me away a little bit was that he's reached base in 48 of his 53 games. That's 91% of his career games he's reached base at. Like, think about how, like, if he stays that consistent, I mean, he's the best baseball player of all time. Compared to players that were under 21 years of age, he's just one of 2 players to reach base that many times in 53 games. The only other player to do that was Willie Mays. So if you believe in that type of stuff, Wander is going to be good for a long time and eventually get himself into Cooperstown.
Absolutely. Andy, how are you feeling about Wander?
Wander boy, it's been amazing. Truthfully, I did not know that coming into this base. I know who I'm picking for my over 1.5 tomorrow. That's for sure. Yeah, no, he's been fantastic. I was going to say, if it wasn't for Wander Frank, earlier this season, Wander came up. You really had to look at Cabrian Hayes, but unfortunately, he's been injured for much of this year. So, I think Wander has really kind of taken that mantle from a position player standpoint, from a 21 prospect perspective. Can you highlight a really bad start that he had to the season when he came up? He hit 194 in his first month of the season. So, yeah, I mean, you can see just with a consistent everyday approach for Wander, the opportunities that he's getting is really making a difference for him.
Yeah, he's really great. The Rays made the right choice, and I'm excited.
Shane's still having trouble with his camera. Is Shane there?
Yeah, I'm here.
He keeps going in and out.
But I think Franco is going to do pretty awesome in the playoffs. Definitely going to help the Rays make some noise, maybe make the World Series again. We'll see. We'll see how it goes, right? And then one last baseball topic to get on top of is the Mets are celebrating in a unique way. They're giving a thumbs down to the fan base. Javi Baez was quoted saying, "When we don't get success, we're going to get booed." So they, quotation marks, the fans are going to get booed when we get success. Andy, I know you had some strong feelings about this. What do you want to tell the Mets if you could talk to Javi Baez to his face now?
Well, first of all, I don't know if I want to talk to his face like that. I'll say that to his face. I don't know. But he definitely redeemed himself today. I will say this, that's not a good approach to take towards your fan base, especially when you're struggling. My goodness, they have been awful since the trade deadline. Whether you're winning or you're losing, telling your fan base, giving them the thumbs down and all that, the fans pay for your salary. They pay with their merchandise. They pay with the tickets. They pay with the TV contracts through cable or through the MLB.TV, which, by the way, is not cheap. That's like $150, $160 a year. So you're investing in your team. So to see your team kind of, if you're a Mets fan, kind of, turn your back, especially this is a player they got at the trade deadline. Okay. And Francisco Lindor, is a relatively new player as well. This is his first year with the New York Mets coming over from the Indians. So these two stars are new, and they're trying to install a culture with this Mets team that is just not a positive approach. And you have guys like Pete Alonso and Michael Conforto and Brandon Nimmo and Jacob deGrom and others who have been with the New York Mets for many years and have actually had success with the Mets going to the World Series a few years ago, losing to the Royals. But they experienced success with the Mets. So they need to be the ones that install that culture, not hotheads like Frankie Lindor and Javi Baez, who are new to the organization trying to set a tone. So, they did make up for it today. They came back down 5-1 in the bottom of the ninth inning against the Marlins. Javi Baez had a lot to do with that. So the fans are happy with him today, with him scoring the winning run, and they apologized as well. So we'll see what happens. The Mets are pretty much out of it, which makes my heart happy anyways. But nonetheless, still not a great approach when trying to set an example for your fan base.
For real, what a jackass! Like, honest to God, does he have any idea where he's playing? These people have one winning season the last 5 years before that losing heartbreak of a World Series. They've been a traditional dumpster fire with horrible management, and they're pretty much a joke to a lot of the league, and this is what you're gonna do. I mean, not that they're not paying a good portion of your salary and coming to watch you out play baseball, and that's why you're playing in front of them. Yeah, real interesting choice there for Javi Baez. And dude, you just freaking got there, man. Like you just got there, and you're already going to be acting like a turd. Man, it's a bad look, very bad look for the Mets, for him too, especially as doing it in a city like New York. That'll get you sent out of there real quick.
That's what I was going to say. Is doing it in New York is what's the craziest to me. I think that's just a bad look. Like Andy said, I mean, you and Ken pretty much covered it. Doing that stuff is crazy to me. The fans pay your salary. For the most part, it's just yikes.
Yeah.
But moving on to football, let me just intro it real quick. All aboard the Mac Jones train, baby.
Is this why he's hiding?
Choo-choo.
Is he scared? Is this why his camera's off? He's spooked?
All aboard the Mac Jones train. Cam Newton got released today, which makes Mac Jones the starter. I am so excited. I'm so sorry, Ken. I know Cam is probably your favorite player in the NFL. So it does suck. But I am very excited for this. I do believe in Mac a lot. I think this is a good move. I would have been okay watching Cam start for 10 games until they felt comfortable with Mac. But I think throwing him into the fire, he looked the part in preseason. I'm pretty excited, Ken. But I really am anxious to hear your thoughts on this.
Mac, the player, has been growing on me since the draft, so it's gone uphill since then, and I think this is good for him. I mean, it's probably good for Cam. Let's be honest, but I don't know. I feel like Belichick protected him too much. That him being Cam, and I don't know, it kind of looks weird on his part, but regardless, Mac earned the job. It appears that Mac did earn the job, but I'm not as optimistic as you are, because you're asking this kid to come in and play a 16-game rookie season, and now like all the reports are coming out that he's like the most NFL ready other than Trevor Lawrence, and it's like, okay, well, where were all these reports months ago when he was going 15th overall? Where were all these reports months ago when he was clearly behind Cam Newton and did all this work? You mean to tell me over the course of 3 weeks he's now NFL ready? I'm a little skeptical. I'm a little nervous, and I'm a little worried about the lack of depth. They put Stidham on the PUP list, so he's out for 6 weeks, but they do say that they are comfortable with Jared Stidham as their backup. I'm not fucking comfortable with Jared Stidham as my backup. I'm not comfortable with Brian Hoyer serving as a backup for 8 weeks. I watched the game he played last year. Like, I know you can't have Cam as a backup, but this goes on Belichick because you brought Cam in earlier this year because you wanted Cam to be your starter, when you should have brought in a quarterback that would compete with Mac and then voluntarily sit behind him as a veteran presence.
Like Fitzpatrick.
A Nick Foles, Gardner Minshew went for free. I mean, he's not a veteran technically, but look, Mac Jones is running around out there. He looks like Stone Cold Steve Austin with that fucking knee brace on. It gives me fits. He's one fall away from a season ender or a prolonged absence. I'm rooting for him, but I'm very skeptical of whether this team's going to succeed. Can Cam do Houston? I don't know, man. I mean, my ability says that
I doubt it.
Hang up.
They already have Deshaun Watson, assuming he can play. If not, they have Tyrod Taylor already.
So it just seems like a loaded question, because I think just based on reports that I've seen recently, where there's smoke, there's usually fire. I do see maybe a Deshaun for Tua trade coming. I know Brian Flores is playing that down.
He really fucking did link it to Tua.
What'd you say?
He really did link it to Tua. You up there.
I'm just saying that if Tua goes to Houston, he's the incumbent starter over Tyrod.
They don't have a starter. They have that rookie that sucks. I can't remember his name. He's not going to
Davis
play.
Mills.
Davis Mills. Thank you. Tyrod's going to play. It's going to be terrible. And Watson's not. Watson's not going to, and he probably will play somewhere else. If that's true, and Miami really does want him, that's going to happen. And
see, the thing is with like everyone wants to know why they would want Deshaun. But I feel like if there was substantial evidence, the NFL would have suspended him already, right?
why? I mean, if you don't want him, you don't want him because of the off-field stuff. On field, no one's going to sit here, maybe you, and say that Tua has
I'm not going to. No.
ability that Deshaun Watson has. It's not even close. I mean, I would take Deshaun Watson any day over Tua.
I would say I would take Deshaun over. I mean, I know Andy won't sit here and debate Jalen Hurts over Deshaun. A healthy Deshaun.
I think Deshaun's a top 5 quarterback when on the field. So
do you think if Deshaun went to Miami, that I know this is a little off base, but do you think if he went to Miami, that vaults Miami up there near Buffalo?
I think they're easily the second team in the division and probably a slam dunk wild card team with Deshaun Watson at quarterback. Yeah, I definitely do.
You, Andy, what are your thoughts on that as well?
I mean, it would surely make things more interesting down in Miami. I think that offense would have a great opportunity to succeed. I mean, when you have a Jalen Waddle coming in as a rookie, and then guys like Devontae Parker, Will Fuller at the helm, who, by the way, Deshaun Watson is familiar with his days in Houston. Same with Will Fuller in Houston. So I think that would be a great connection. I think it would surely benefit the Dolphins to make that trade, assuming that Deshaun Watson's availability will not be in question. I feel like if you make that trade, you got to have an idea how things are going to shake out from a Deshaun Watson standpoint.
Well, the past week, we've heard Brian Flores say that Tua is his guy. But where there's smoke, there's fire. I got to assume that the reason the trade hasn't happened yet is because they're making sure Deshaun's cleared to play.
Right.
If he's cleared to play and he's not going to see any backlash, I think you see the Dolphins make that trade with all the picks they have.
Shane, throw that Jacob comment up there because that's the big takeaway from all of this.
This one or the other one?
That one. If you're in a survivor pool, you are going to like picking on Houston this year. That's the big takeaway from all of this, whether it's Tyrod Taylor, whether it's Davis Mills, or whether it's Cam Newton.
Or Tua.
Or Tua. If it's Tua, you're probably going to like beating on them too because, yeah, they're ugly. They're ugly. Their running game disgusts me. And they have like 5 old joke running backs, and they're each going to get 3 carries a game. It's a fantasy nightmare. Receivers, I guess Brandon Cooks is still serviceable, and they have a rookie, Nico Collins. And outside of that, they are the worst, by far the worst. Slam dunk, number 1 overall pick next year in the draft. If that is a prop bet for Viggy, if it's not a prop bet for Viggy, I don't know what is.
And if
Texans 101.
Just to clear up the Mac Jones stuff, Mac Jones is healthy for 17 games, all 17 games, right? He plays all 17. Do you think the Patriots make the playoffs, or do you think Mac can't get them there?
No, I don't.
I don't know about year one, Shane. I mean, I think he can eventually get them there. I just think with the Bills right now, and then the Dolphins. It depends on what happens with the quarterback position there, but we did see some good things from the Dolphins last year, not necessarily because of Tua, but I think, from a talent standpoint,
their defense was the number one.
Their defense is very good. Their defense is very good. So if they can get adequate quarterback play, not very many turnovers, I think they can definitely compete. And we saw some great things from Zach Wilson in the preseason. Not saying that they're going to be a playoff team, but I don't think they'll be a pushover by any means. So, we've got a new era in the AFC East where I believe Josh Allen's the oldest quarterback.
25, yeah.
25. So
everyone else is 22.
Yeah, everybody else is in the early 20s. So I think it'll be kind of an up and down division. I think Josh Allen and the Bills are going to have it for a while. But that's not to say that, Mac Jones or any of these rookie sophomore quarterbacks can eventually take charge here.
And then just to circle this around to cards, Ken, I saw on Twitter today someone said that Mac Jones cards are now going to be like Justin Herbert cards last year when Herbert started playing good.
That's an interesting point, Shane, because you're right. We're even earlier than last year, and I remember last year we first started running breaks. Herbert was not a focal point. The Chargers were not a desirable PYT team. It was the Bengals, it was the Dolphins, and it was the Eagles, and that's who teams wanted. And people did take the Chargers kind of like they were taking the Packers, if you think about it, with Jordan Love. That's kind of how they were doing it, and it quickly changed, and the Chargers became the Cinderella of all the box breaks for the foreseeable future. So if you think about it, and if you really like Mac Jones, the Patriots, if he's good, they'll go on that same type of trajectory. One of these kids is going to be good, whether it's Wilson or Lance or Fields or Lawrence or Mac. One of them is going to be very good, and whichever one is very good is going to be the Cinderella of the card world. You really just have to kind of forecast which one it's going to be. The tricky part this year is that you have Fields and Lance who are apparently going to slot in behind them, though people would behind their starters, Dalton and Garoppolo for the time being. But the interesting part is going to be what happens when they get the ball, because I think those guys have sort of that unknown ceiling, whereas I think you could argue Mac's ceiling is a little bit more known, if that makes sense. Like, Mac's not going to run for 10 touchdowns and 1,000 yards. Like Trey Lance, you have no idea what he's going to do. He could be the greatest quarterback athlete we've ever seen. He could completely fall on his face.
Is there something in the card realm called like hype value right now? Because we have, Trey Lance, we have Zach Wilson, and we have Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence, and these rookies that we all really are excited about, right? But we don't necessarily know how they're going to pan out. I mean, we have an idea, which is kind of where the hype value exists, but really their performance on the field is what's going to determine their value, right?
People in the card world are very, what have you done for me lately? I've noticed, and they don't have a lot of patience. So when if Trey Lance's first start goes for 4 picks and 0 touchdowns and he gets benched again, his cards are going to take a 10 to 20% hit from one game for no reason at all. And that's, I think people are more so just very, instinctive, willing to act on their first instinct, especially with the cards. They want the latest and greatest and the next Patrick Mahomes. Dagels, that's a good point. Justin Fields is Justin Fields, but Trey Lance could be anything. He could even be Justin Fields. I like that.
And I see where he's coming from with that, because we all know Justin Fields from his days in Ohio State, and he's a big name coming out of college. But Trey Lance, we don't know that much about him. Admittedly, I don't know too much about Trey Lance. So
I would argue
is that determine Trey Lance's value? Maybe you can get his cards right now a little bit under value, or under where you would get Justin Fields,
exactly,
or Lawrence.
So exactly.
He's the better buy right now. I kind of like how we're delving into Ken's collectible corner right now in the card value, but kind of leading the charge with Shane's connectivity issues is that Trey Lance I think he's the better investment long term, because you could get his cards at a lower value right now, assuming he comes out and is the next big star. Once he plays, his value will shoot right up, right?
Right. And Vic, you can also there's also quite a bit of parallels between the card world and fantasy, especially dynasty fantasy, where if you do believe that Trey Lance is that guy, is that next big wave quarterback, you want to get him now, because he's going to go nowhere but up. You got to be very careful with that type of stuff. Like, you could wait, but if you wait too long, you miss the boat. Coming into the hobby late, it was late to get a Mahomes, but I eventually got one, and I still think it's going to go up. But you wanted to get it back when it was first being printed, because that was before Mahomes was Mahomes. Mahomes' rookie cards were before he was good, right? Because he sat a year.
Mm-hmm.
That's
right.
the thing. So Mahomes, people probably weren't clamoring for Mahomes rookie cards the way that they're clamoring for Justin Herbert rookie cards. They might have been clamoring for Mahomes rookie cards the way some people clamor for Jordan Love rookie cards.
Well, they're clamoring for him now, that's for sure.
It was Trubisky that year. Everyone wanted Trubisky or Deshaun
Trubisky
Watson.
and wasn't Watson that year?
Yeah.
Yep. And Watson wasn't even that hyped. He was a late pick coming out. And yeah, everybody wanted Mitch Trubisky, and I forget who else was in that class. But
I like this comment from Ryan Crawford. Is Cam going to land, or is he a Kaepernick? He might be a Kaepernick from a vaccine or lack thereof standpoint. I heard that, Cam, one of the reasons that why he was released was the whole COVID protocols debacle that kept him away from the facility for 5 days. So yeah. I know a lot of these teams are taking into account vaccination status for these cuts. Not necessarily 100% of the cuts are vaccine related or whatnot, but I know teams are thinking about it.
That was 100% why they got rid of him too, because honestly, that was the writing on the wall. That pissed them off. You can tell, and I think you can tell because they leaked it. Right? They didn't necessarily leak it the way they did. They leaked it as a misunderstanding. Cam screwed up, and I think that really pissed them off. And I think their leaking it solely was ammunition for today's move. I think they leaked it at the time the way they leaked it, so that when today came, they could point to that and say, "This guy wasn't reliable. We can't rely on him even to be a backup quarterback to our rookie because he might not be there." Whether it's because of the vaccine or just because of his own issues, I don't really know. But it's certainly true that Cam was showing that he was not a reliable quarterback, and I wouldn't be shocked to see him go the Kaepernick route. I actually think, and I'm not exactly impartial because Cam's one of my favorites, but he does have a career after football. He's got web shows. He screams television to me, so I think he's got a nice gig lined up for him when football's done, and I think he should consider that now probably.
I also think he would be a pretty good. I think he'd be pretty good in the booth too.
Yeah, I don't know about the booth. I've never heard him analyze football, but I've seen him in a lax setting. He has that web show that I've heard very good things about, and I know all the kids like it, which is interesting to me because that if the kids like you're probably he might end up on Nickelodeon or something. I do
think a good personality.
He has that personality. He has that smile. It's extremely contagious, and when things are going right, he's a really, really great dude to be around and a great teammate. That's what everybody says, but it's been clear, and it's always been the case that when things do not go right, he does tend to sometimes kind of shoot himself in the foot, and I think that's what happened here.
Yeah. So moving on, J.K. Dobbins is out for the season with a torn ACL. Ken, I want to know from you, fantasy-wise, how does this impact his owners that drafted him? But also, I saw on Twitter you had a good take. I know you were agreeing with someone who said that if they can't get one of the top 3 running backs, which was Cook, Kamara, or McCaffrey, that punting running back may not be the worst strategy. But did you think if Dobbins was healthy in that Ravens offense, that he was maybe that number 4 running back this year? 4 or 5?
I think he could have gotten into that 5 spot. I'm one of the believers that the 4 is the 4, but I think the 5 is up for debate. And I think he could have gotten that just because of the offense that he plays in. But not that I don't like J.K. Dobbins, but I don't think it's a J.K. Dobbins thing as much as it is a Baltimore and a Lamar Jackson thing. I think you can put a lot of running backs in that system and they will succeed. I think Dobbins is super good, super talented, has a bright future. Hopefully he comes back from this no problem. But we got Taco Joe here name dropping Justice Hill. These are the types of guys. I've actually heard Tyson Williams, who you can get for free in fantasy. These are guys I think are going to be very serviceable. I actually think Gus Edwards could be a league winner. And I don't say that lightly. I think Gus Edwards could be really, really good. He's going to get a ton of volume. He doesn't have the same style as J.K. Dobbins, so you will see other guys slot in like Justice Hill. But Edwards is going to be in for that goal line role, and that early down role. And he kind of gives me those 2017 Alex Collins vibes. Alex Collins was left for dead, came out of nowhere in 2017 for Baltimore and had almost 1,000 yards with 6 or 7 touchdowns. And I could see the same type of thing happening for Gus Edwards. Not that he was left for dead because he was going to be relevant in this offense, but now he just got such a huge bump, a bump of immeasurable proportions because Mark Ingram's no longer there. It's literally Justice Hill and Tyson Williams. That's TY' son Williams. Never heard of him, but if he's a pulse and he has 2 working feet, I think he could be okay in this offense, in this running game. But look out for Todd Gurley. That's the great wild card.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
I'll say it. Go ahead, Big. Go ahead.
It's funny because I was at our league. I picked up Todd Gurley just from the waiver wire because I knew he went to visit Baltimore earlier this offseason. I'm the one that actually am taking the direct hit with this injury, unfortunately, in our Dynasty League. With the loss of J.K. Dobbins, I actually saw the play live. He went down. He didn't get up. I'm like, oh, crap. Hoping that it wasn't that much. He'd be all right, whatever. But I did pick up Gus Edwards in the middle of our draft for that reason. Not that I expected Dobbins to suffer season-ending injury, but I knew that if Dobbins were to get hurt, that Edwards could slide right in and be a first-round caliber running back. I mean, we saw Gus Edwards his first 3 seasons. We'll chronicle last year in this offense, 723 yards rushing with 6 touchdowns, and that's with Mark Ingram and J.K. Dobbins kind of ahead of him on the depth chart. So I expect Gus Edwards to have definitely 1,000-yard rushing season. I would expect potentially more, 1,300 yard rushing season. Even if they sign another running back, whether it be Gurley or whoever, Le'Veon Bell is out there.
If you're not drafting yet, what are you waiting for? If you're not drafting yet, you should hope that they might bring in somebody like a Gurley because that'll keep Edwards' cost down. If they don't, he's going to skyrocket and probably too late now.
Yeah, Gus the Bus is the move in Baltimore. I think if they don't bring in another back, he might be a 1,200-yard back just based on how much they run and how, like Ken said, they've got Justice Hill and Tyson Williams behind.
For a second, I thought Vig took ETN in our dynasty draft, and I was about to say, wait a minute, Dobbins, Akers, and ETN. That's a great start.
Well, I did have ETN. I took him in my other dynasty league.
Okay. Vig took him in. Ryan Crawford, that's commenting, is actually in our other dynasty league, and that's where Vig took ETN.
Third round reversal. That is interesting.
I ended up actually trading ETN last week in the deal to get David Montgomery. So, that will end up working out for me. I have 2 years of control with him, potentially 3 with the option. So, something I had to do because I want to win this year. I don't want to be donating every single year $150. So I'll try to make a run this year. So,
moving on, talking about another rookie like ETN. Is Jamar Chase, who has had a bad case of drops, and he's having trouble creating separation from DBs. Are we seeing Le'Veon Bell 2.0 taking a year off, and then he's just not able to get back into game shape?
No, because Le'Veon Bell was an actual star in this league. Jamar Chase, I think.
Okay, but I'm saying from the perspective of him taking a year off because he took a year off in college. He didn't play his senior year. And then coming back and just completely bombing like Le'Veon.
Well, it's a bigger skill set. It's a harder skill set. You're jumping from missing a year. It's not like Le'Veon where he missed a year, but he played in the NFL the year before. He's transitioning to a completely new league in a professional league, which means the talent is significantly more difficult. So yeah, it might take him a while to get used to the talent gap between college and the pros. But unfortunately, first impressions are important in this league, and if he gets off to a rough start, Limas Swede, is he the next Limas Swede?
I remember he bought his jersey.
Can't get separation, can't catch passes, drops a lot of balls. Should we put him at cornerback instead of wide receiver? I mean, we're not at that point yet, but definitely not what you were expecting or hoping, especially if you picked him up in Dynasty League drafts. Thankfully, I did not at this point, but I'm sure he'll get accustomed to the way the NFL works throughout this season. Wide receivers are one of the positions where it is harder to get acclimated. He does have Joe Burrow finally getting his legs from underneath him, coming back from his season-ending injury last year. So I think as the season progresses, we could see an improvement rapport from Burrow and Chase.
People are saying that Devonta Smith is actually the best receiver in this year's draft. Because of Jamar Chase's start.
Maybe
I'll take it. I picked him in my other 16 Dynasty League.
I still like Chase's talent the most. I just think I think you're going to see rookie receivers be rookie receivers this year, and everybody got spoiled by Justin Jefferson's anomaly. And 2 years ago, the year 3 wide receiver breakout was still a thing that everybody talked about, and that was actually the norm. That was the expectation, was a year 3 breakout for wide receivers. But then Justin Jefferson came out and absolutely massacred that.
CeeDee Lamb was really good last year too.
And Michael Pittman had a great second half. So
yeah, and then lost some stuff with Dak. But if you're expecting like Jamar Chase to just come out and be like elite, top of the line, front end wide receiver like Justin Jefferson and a very crowded Bengals offense, I think that's a little naive, especially given the issues that the Bengals do have that they need to address. First and foremost, getting their quarterback up to speed and up and running. So if you have a rookie receiver who is not creating separation and is not running his routes and is not catching the ball, then you need to get him off the field because it's going to impact Joe Burrow. And what I think you're going to see, and this is something that I've been a big believer in all through fantasy draft season, is that Tyler Boyd is going to be the best wide receiver on this team. And I think people have been sleeping on him. He was the 3rd of 3 was drafted in most fantasy leagues. He was my favorite to take in fantasy leagues because he was the 3rd of 3. And I think you're looking at a guy who plays in the slot. He has fantastic hands. He's a possession receiver, and he plays with a rookie quarterback who just tore his ACL with a bad O-line. He's going to be looking for Tyler Boyd a lot, and I think Tyler Boyd is by far going to be the best bargain, but probably the most efficient and the Bengals wide receiver that you're going to probably want to start every week for your fantasy team.
See, for those same reasons are the same reasons that I like T. Higgins this year. I know T. Higgins is going a little higher than Boyd, but I really like Higgins this year. I thought he came on at the end of last year.
I like him too. I just don't think he's going to have it. Let's say this. I'll take T. Higgins in standard, Tyler Boyd in PPR.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I did want to point out
go ahead.
I did want to point out before we get to you, Vig, that people killed the Bengals for not taking Sewell, the O-lineman that the Lions ended up getting.
Yeah.
But he has stunk this preseason. He has been awful.
Oh, has he?
He's getting run over. He's shown no strength at the line. He has no explosion. D ends are just crushing him and they're sacking the quarterback at a high clip against him. So he's actually looking like an O-line bust. I mean, he's obviously got time to turn that around, but I honestly think I'd almost take Jamar Chase's problems over having an O-lineman that has no explosion.
I do wish that they would have thrown some money at somebody, but Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, from a fantasy standpoint, I'm pretty much taking any of those 3 wide receivers this year for the Bengals because more than likely they're going to be trailing in a lot of games. So they're going to be throwing the football. So there's going to be a lot of a great target share between those 3 wide receivers. And Boyd, Higgins, Chase, whoever's on the field for the Bengals. I like them in fantasy because they will be throwing the football a lot. And even Joe Mixon out of the backfield, not my favorite running back, but as long as he's healthy, he will certainly be an asset.
And then staying on the same path, I want to talk about another receiver that I think has big breakout potential this year. I think there's 2 receivers on this team that have very good breakout potential, and that's KJ Hamler. He's had a pretty good preseason, looking like a pretty solid speedster. He was great at Penn State, broke a lot of Saquon's touchdown records, rushing records. So, Ken, do you think KJ Hamler could get it done in Denver?
Yeah. So I'm gonna kind of make this a Broncos mashup a little bit, but I think he's a phenomenal dynasty asset. He's explosive. He's kind of like that receiver that flies under the radar because he doesn't have the combine numbers and he probably doesn't jump as high as Jamar Chase but he's those receivers that I think age well in the NFL and typically end up becoming very serviceable, especially if he can get himself in the slot along with Jerry Jeudy and Sutton on the outside. But those 2 guys are my concern. I think it's very unlikely he sees consistent volume on a week-to-week basis, because you have Jeudy and because you have Sutton. And Sutton has broken out before. 2 years ago, he had over 1,100 yards and 6 touchdowns. But I think in Dynasty, he's a really great hold and somebody to look out for, the Hamler that is. Whereas I think Jeudy is somebody that you're going to get a little bit more production out of this year. He's more of that prototypical outside receiver that I just think profiles really well in the NFL. But I think the silver lining here is that people sleep on Teddy Bridgewater, and I know I'm overlapping into the next segment a little bit, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Oh, please.
It's not the long-term answer, but I think he's best for these young guys. And I think Drew Lock is a detriment to these young guys because you have a lot of them, and you want them all to develop sort of in unison together. And that would be Jeudy, Hamler, Javonte Williams, Noah Fant, all these young, talented players, Sutton even still. You want them all to move forward, and you want them all to make sure that they're getting their touches. And I don't think Drew Lock is the type of guy who is going to be able to do that. And I think people sleep on Teddy Bridgewater and his ability to do that. People forget last year DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson were both top 25 wide receivers in fantasy. So he has shown that he can support multiple people in an offense. That also included Christian McCaffrey and a very highly involved set of tight ends. So, I actually really think Bridgewater is what's best for the Broncos. And I think bringing him in to play with Hamler and Jeudy is what's best for them. I think it's what's best to get Sutton back to normal. The only thing left to do now is get rid of the corpse of Melvin Gordon, and you might be in money. You still do need your long-term quarterback answer, but it was a really good breakthrough for the Broncos to realize that Drew Lock was not that person.
Yeah, Bridgewater has actually been really good this preseason. Judy's flourished. Not to bring it back to cards, but to bring it back to cards for a second, Judy's market's on fire right now. His cards are selling for crazy. I just the 3 cards that I had of Jeudy that I showed you, Ken, the 3 big cards I had, I actually doubled up on all of them.
Did you sell them?
I did. I got 550 for them.
Wow.
So I
didn't even done anything yet either.
Exactly. I got 1 retweet from a rather big Twitter person in the hobby, and they sold in 10 minutes. So I feel like I may have undervalued them, and maybe I could have gotten more. But, I mean, I doubled up, and that's all I cared about. Now I put that into the Baker I showed you and a few other things. But and I'll probably use it towards the break that we'll talk about here in the next 10 minutes. But no, I think Bridgewater can definitely support at least Sutton and Jeudy and maybe Hamler. Like Ken said, it might not be an every week thing for Hamler, but if you play the matchups right, maybe you hit on him a couple times. He'd be like I don't know, like maybe Viggy Betts would say a lottery ticket. So he'd be one of those plays that you definitely play the matchups on and get lucky on. I think he'll be involved in a lot of stuff. I think Judy's definitely going to have a big year. And but yeah, Andy, I know you have something you want to say on that.
I just wanted to talk about our final topic here, Sam Darnold, Shane. So,
sure, yeah, definitely get us started because then we're gonna jump into ECBC.
Well, yeah, all I wanted to say was he hasn't looked bad this preseason. Could we see Rule resurrect Darnold's career in Carolina? That's all I've been talking about this offseason when we've talked about Sam Darnold, getting away from Adam Gase. It seems to have turned around Ryan Tannehill pretty well, right? So I'm really looking forward to seeing what Sam Darnold can do. And I wouldn't mind putting a little wager on the passing yards, Shane. If you
count me out. I'm actually excited to see Darnold in Carolina.
Oh, so you're excited. Oh man, wouldn't I wish our good friend.
Hey, I never said I was a Sam Darnold hater.
I wish
we made that Baker Darnold bet.
Was still here. I wish our good friend Jonathan Stanton was still here because not only could he resurrect his career, he'd resurrect his career with a rival of our good friend Stanton.
See, that's the thing. If Stanton was here, that's someone that you could get a bet with on this.
I know.
He hated Darnold.
I know.
With me, we did our Darnold Baker bet, and Darnold's away from Gase now, and he's actually looked really good with Matt Rule.
I think the Tannehill comp is very interesting because they're similar, and I think you're going to see that too. And do not discredit what CMC can do for a quarterback.
Absolutely.
mean, CMC is the most valuable weapon to a quarterback other than the blindside tackle. Like, talk about, if you don't know where to go, just find him in space and let him do it.
I was talking with Brandon, who's been on the show before earlier today, and I was saying how Carolina has so many weapons. They've got Christian, they've got Chuba Hubbard, they've got Terrace Marshall, Robbie Anderson, DJ.
Terrace Marshall is a sneaky good rookie, and he's going to be the third receiver for sure.
And that's the thing. He's got so many weapons. And this is another person, not just Matt Rule, but Joe Brady, who's their offensive coordinator, did so good with Teddy Bridgewater last year, like you said, Ken. I think you're going to see a different Sam Darnold this season. I think you're going to see a more composed Sam Darnold. You're going to see, I guess, Ryan Tannehill. I don't really have a comp for Darnold. What I was thinking more of was maybe a younger Sam Bradford.
I'm just going by the situation, Shane.
The situations
in Miami. That's what we're comparing, Shane. And when Tannehill left,
I know. But I'm just saying, if I had to guess, like if I'm comparing him, I'm just saying Sam Bradford. He kind of reminds me of Sam Bradford in a way.
Also, 3 of their first 4 games are against the Saints, Jets, and Texans, so they might get off to a good start.
The Saints are going to be sneaky too. I think that NFC South division is going to be pretty good.
I think Carolina could finish second in the division. I wouldn't be surprised. Tampa's the class of that division, and I know Ryan asked how's the defense. Carolina's defense is leaky. It's young, but it's leaky, and it's going in the right direction. They're moving in the right direction.
Rule's got that team, and I think he's rebuilding that team. Amazing.
Jeremy
Chin is awesome. Brian Burns.
They drafted 3 defensive studs very early last year. Jeremy Chin, Derek Brown, and I'm blanking on the third one.
And then they took J.C. Horn in the first round this year.
Yeah, they have a very up and coming defense.
And they have Brian Burns on the D line, who's been awesome.
Yep. Yeah, they look good, I think. They're going in the right direction. I like the coach. I like the thing they got going. I like that they want to give Darnold a shot to be the guy.
Who's their backup? Do you know?
Oh, it's the XFL guy.
PJ Walker.
PJ Walker.
Thank you. Yeah. Philip Walker. Yeah. Yeah, because they just released Will Grier, so Walker is confirmed the backup.
And if they struggle this year, they still have that pretty good core offense that they could take a Sam Howell next year, right?
Maybe they'll sign Cam Newton.
They could bring Newton back, which would be interesting.
So
But,
Ryan Tannehill, just to end on this, Ryan Tannehill's first full season out of Adam Gase was this past season. Remember, he came in later in the season in his first year in Tennessee. 3,800 yards, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. So
his numbers are on par with the top 5 quarterbacks in the league when you add it all together and compare them. He's really, really good, Ryan Tannehill. I'm a big Ryan Tannehill champion. If Sam Darnold does 75% of that, it will be a success for him.
I like it. So now we're going to get into our ECBC part of the show for the last, 12, 15 minutes. Ken, I did want to say one thing as we're starting.
Yeah.
I picked up a quarterback. His market is low. He's an older guy. I got a rookie. It's a Topps rookie. Do you want to guess who it is?
Oh, I do. It is not going to be Roethlisberger.
No.
Not Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan?
Yeah, it's Matt Ryan.
It's Matt Ryan?
It is. I got an X-Fractor rookie for $30.
Hey, that was a good guess. Second try.
I mean, that second guess, that's pretty spot on. But I thought his market's kind of down, and those X-Fractors on like Tony Romo and stuff like that sell for big money. So
plus, Ryan is Ryan like a fringy Hall of Fame guy, or is he not even close?
I feel like he's got to be fringe, right? Because he really hasn't had a bad season.
No, that's what I was thinking too.
And he's got a pretty good young team around him this year.
Yeah, I mean, if people think Calvin Ridley is going to be as good as they think, and Pitts is going to be as good as they think, well, then he has to be pretty good. And I actually think Calvin Ridley is extremely undervalued in the hobby still. I think that's going to go way up this year.
I almost, if it was anything other than plates and patches, I was going to buy an RPA of Calvin Ridley. A guy was selling it for $40, but it was plates and patches, and I was like, that probably doesn't go up too much. But
it is gimmicky.
It was out of 25 though, which is why I was like, oh, this might be something. But I was like, I'll get the Matt Ryan and the Baker, and then we'll work our way from there.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Yeah, the last quarterback I bought was that Tannehill rookie that I showed you last time, so I was happy with that one. But
no, that's a good one. And the Topps rookies are always the best. I
love Topps Chrome rookies. Unfortunately, we'll never see those again.
Unless Fanatics does something weird when they take over.
They could.
But anyways, what are we doing this week? What's ECB?
What are we doing? Let's see. Well, it's been a little slow. My counterpart, Mr. Lamo Breen, has been filling a 3-box Topps Chrome auction draft, which we're getting close. I think we're past the 80% mark on the reserve. So Liam's going to be breaking that. That's Topps Chrome baseball. That's going to be, how many autos are in that? 6, I believe. 3 hobby boxes. Yep. What I am doing, I have a whole bunch of this shit that's actually peeking out at you right there. It is certified, one of my favorite products of the year. I have a whole bunch of boxes. This is kind of like the first good product release if you're going to be hunting rookies for the year.
I love that Daniel Jones is on the box.
What?
I love that Daniel Jones is on the box.
Yeah, weird, right? Weird choice. So this is what you would want if you're going to be going hard after Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase, Najee Harris. Keep going. Any rookie you want. This is going to be their first real RPA. Jacob's down. Yeah, Jacob, hit up my man out of Bagels, but we'll hook you up for sure. Yeah, we can get you in the Discord. No problem at all.
I just dropped the Discord link in.
We actually haven't opened it yet. I'm going to open it as soon as the show ends. So it'll be a PYT. We'll start off with that one, and this is going to be our first chasing of the big rookies for the year. So each box has 2 autographs, 2 memorabilia cards, so 4 hits. At least, and we're going to chase 2 boxes to start. I think we'll keep the cost down. Start with 2, work our way up, maybe do another 2. I think I'm going to rip a personal for myself. I know Mr. Out of Bagels was considering doing a personal, so we'll see how that goes. I'm actually kind of excited. I haven't done a personal hobby box in a while, but I think this might be the one. hopefully I get myself a 1-of-1 shield of Mac Jones that I can.
You're gonna get the 1-of-1 shield of Ian Book,
Ian Book, yes.
which would be good. I like Ian Book's. I think
I would prefer it to be Mac Jones, but I'm down with the Ian Book too, no doubt about it.
Hey, any 1-of-1 is good, right?
That's true. That is true. It is 1-of-1. We pulled an Antonio Gates 1-of-1.
Yes.
But yeah, so that's what we're doing right now. I'm going to open it after this. It's going to be PYT, so pick your teams. In the interest of transparency, obviously the 5 quarterbacks are the most expensive, followed by the Bengals, the Steelers, the Eagles, the Dolphins, the top end receivers and running backs. And then, there's a couple cheap teams under $10, and then a whole shitload of teams in the 10 to 20 range. So
there's some decent vets that are in this too that did some autographs.
Kyler Murray signed. Didn't know that. So yeah, pretty good checklist. We'll see how it goes. I have a lot of boxes, honestly.
Have you seen the Dark Horse inserts? Those are actually super nice.
The what?
The Dark Horse inserts.
I have not. No, I know
Those
everybody
are super
chases
nice.
the year insert. What is it? The graffiti stuff. Right?
I do like the graffiti, but I think the Dark Horse has to be my favorite this year. Especially like the Chrome Dark Horse ones. Those
I'm gonna go look
awesome.
for one.
They have a Derrick Henry one I saw. Some guy pulled an out of 5 Derrick Henry one. It was nice.
Those are sick. There's a Russell Wilson on eBay out of $249. That is sick.
Yeah, there's some really good stuff in this, guys. So for those of you listening, for those of you that will be listening, make sure you follow Ken on Twitter or follow me or follow Viggy. We're all in the Discord. We'd love to get you in. This is a really good break to get your feet wet with. You don't have to go for a big team. There are going to be some very cheap teams that still have some good cards in it.
True. There's going to be some cheap teams. I'm going to do a thing. I don't know. You take 3 teams, take $5 off or something like that. So the more the better.
And Ken is one of the best breakers in the realm because he's so willing to work with you, and he gives discounts if you take multiple teams.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of breakers don't do that.
Always discounts if you do multiple, if you help Phil. I appreciate you guys helping Phil. So by you guys helping Phil by taking more spots, least I can do is offer a discount. Meanwhile, Shane, I just found the Derrick Henry Dark Horses numbered 4 out of 249 for $25. It's going on the wish list right now.
I like it. I think I saw a couple Kamara's Dark Horses that I really like. I'm really
going to be careful in case I pull one.
Well, that's the thing. When you open the PYT, the Saints are going to be a team I book it for because I want the Kamara Dark Horse.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, I'm going to open it tonight. I would love to break it by Thursday, just because I'm heading up to Maine for the weekend. So if we could do the first one Thursday, then we can see if there's interest in doing some additional ones towards maybe over the holiday weekend or something. But that is the plan anyway. That is the plan as far as ECBC breakage.
I like it. And Ken, do you think it's time to buy basketball?
Oh, buying basketball, you say? I do. So buying basketball is weird. You know why? Because Panini really fucked up, and they did it because they got Optic and Mosaic coming out like now or in the next couple of weeks, and the season's been over for how long? Has it been months?
2 months now.
Yeah. So the season's been over for months, and they're still printing LaMelo rookies, and I feel like this is way worse than it was last year. People have been waiting for Mosaic basketball for months, and for whatever reason, they scheduled it now.
Yeah, Mosaic basketball came out when I got back into the hobby last year before I got you into it.
Yep, and that was like August. So they waited way too long, and it was the year behind. So they was Zion, so they're like way off or something. I don't know how to figure that out.
Speaking of LaMelo rookies, I bought a tricolor wave LaMelo the other day. It's premier level. I'm pretty excited for it. I know it came out of Select Hobby, so It's a hobby exclusive. I think if you're gonna buy the select stuff, I think getting the hobby exclusive is better than getting the retail stuff.
I haven't done too much select basketball myself, though I do love collecting Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So those would be the guys that I'm buying.
Did you see the Tatum I tagged you in last night?
Oh my God!
The Prism Green Tatum, the 10.
Yeah, it was like, how much was he asking?
3,000.
I know, it was crazy. It was probably the cheapest price that you'll ever find too.
But the team color Prism stuff, I love.
But I really like the next draft class too. I think Cunningham is going to be really good, and I think Jalen Green is going to be really good. So I kind of like this new draft.
See,
class.
I like Evan Mobley, but now I'm nervous. You saw the Cavs added Lauri Markkanen. So now and they've re-signed Jared Allen. So is Evan Mobley coming off the bench? Or is Lauri coming off the bench? Or is Lauri moving to small forward?
The Cavs signed Taco Fall also.
Hey.
Oh, Ken's a big taco guy.
I like him. I know he's not good, but I like him. I mean, I would have liked to keep him.
But
and they say it's Taco Tuesday.
I hate you, Andy. Get off. Ken, for our people, if you've got a choice, you're picking one rookie from this past class. Are you going LaMelo, Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, James Wiseman? Just to invest in, maybe just double your money, maybe triple.
I think the order you just listed them is the correct order in terms of how I would rate them. I do think LaMelo has that most star power, which I think speaks for itself. Talent aside, I think star power is really what you need to go sort of to the next level in the card game. And this is a little sort of my tinfoil hat theory, but I believe that by LaMelo not signing his redemption or signing his autos, I think he did that intentionally to drive up the cost of his autos, because he'll look back in a couple of years and say, joke's on you assholes, all my rookie cards were signed by Miles Bridges. So none of you have LaMelo autos, and his price will go through the roof. That's like my tinfoil hat theory. Whether that actually happens, I don't know. Whether he's actually signing those, I doubt. But that's at least how.
Well, I sent you the picture. His signature changed again.
It changed again, right? So I don't buy it. I think he's doing this as sort of like some kind of money-making scheme. Edwards to me is that quiet superstar, which concerns me because he's in Minnesota. So I could see him sort of having a career of just irrelevant stats, and I hope that's not the case, but that's my concern for him.
Kind of like Kawhi before he went to Toronto.
But I love the talent, and I think he could be very, very good, but he needs either to get out of Minnesota or to fix it. Halliburton is a star. I think he actually is really, really good. He might be the best player in the draft class in terms of raw ability, raw talent, just NFL readiness. I just think he looks like a really, really strong player. Same issue. Got to fix Sacramento or get out of Sacramento. And who did I miss, Shane? Wiseman. I'm not a believer, actually. I don't know. He to me looks like he looks clunky when he plays basketball. Like when I'm watching him, he looks bigger than other people, but he doesn't look. I don't know. I feel like when you're watching basketball, you're like watching like for rhythm, and to me James Wiseman has no rhythm, and I don't know if that's just me, but that's how I feel, and maybe I'm completely off.
I feel like I feel like I agree with you there, because I don't see Golden State throwing him around in trade rumors for Pascal Siakam if they truly believed in him.
I think the best way for me to describe it is he lacks an NBA speed of rhythm. He lacks an NBA rhythm, and I think that's the biggest.
And he struggled with injuries too last year.
Did he? I don't remember that, but I did.
Yeah, he was out a few. He was out a few different times.
I think that's how I would rank them, based off of their desirability and their ability to grow. I would
that's
go
my
LaMelo,
thing.
Edwards, Halliburton, and
I ended up getting this LaMelo for $40. If I can get 80 out of it, I thought it was a no-brainer. If I can get 80 or 90 out of it, I'm into it. I got it off Twitter, off the Kyler Collector.
Oh, shout out Big Worms.
Yeah, Big Worms. I
Tim Wermeling, great Twitter guy, big fan.
So he put it up, and I was like, it was only up for like 10 seconds, and I'm like, oh, this is a no-brainer. I'm just gonna take it.
That seems cheap. Yeah.
It seemed cheap, and I was like, oh, by the time the season starts, this has got to be $100 card.
Yeah, I would say for
I'm
sure.
just gonna one-touch it and put it in my case and forget I even have it.
Put the penny sleeve over it. I've seen a lot of people saying to do that.
Have you heard of Pro Mold?
No.
They're a newer one-touch company. I ended up buying a few of their stuff. They actually comes with a penny sleeve inserted in it, so it covers the front of it.
Oh, I was at the Boston Card Show. Shit, I don't know if I lost the guy's card. Hatch might have it, but it was a guy who has a patent pending on a new one-touch that fits a sleeved card, so it's like slightly bigger.
Yeah, if you go to, I'll send you their Twitter ad. It's called Pro Mold, and it comes with the penny sleeve over the front of it, so like it won't scratch the surface of the card.
This guy also had a one touch that fits a top loaded card, which I thought was immense overkill.
Yeah. No, I'm good on that. That feels like Ben City to me. I don't know.
I feel like you can't even see the card.
Not only that, but I feel like that would be super big. And how does that fit into the Zion case? I feel like it would be, I'd have to lay the card down or lay it to the side.
That's the issue. Is the card has like a.
But these Pro Molds are nice, and actually, the Justin Jefferson collector on Twitter, Mbaze, the one that has like the best Justin Jefferson collection I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Put me on to these guys, and it's like you order off their site. It's $50 minimum to order, but like their one touches are incredible. And if this guy's putting a 2 out of 10 gold wave Justin Jefferson auto in a one touch, and he's not sleeving it because it's not going to scratch his card, then I gotta believe that these things have got to be like the best.
Yeah, Baze has some iron balls, that's for sure.
Did you see that Justin Jefferson he brought in?
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
But
iron cojones on that one.
No, I'm super excited. I can't wait. Ken's gonna drop this PYT. If you're not in the Discord, get in it. If you're listening to this late, you're listening to this tomorrow morning on your commute to work, wherever you are, come join the Discord, have fun. You can reach me on Twitter, reach Ken on Twitter, reach Viggy on Twitter. We'll all give you the link. And getting his breaks, best breaker around. I swear, he's got the best prices. Can't beat him. Ken, tell everyone where we can find you, brother.
Well, thank you for the kind words, Mr. Shane. But yes, those are my two Twitter handles right there at the bottom there. Kembo J Slice is the personal Twitter. EC Breaking Co. is the card breaking Twitter. You can reach out at either one, but either one's going to get you to the Discord, going to get you to my Twitter. And, by all means, please reach out. We are happy to answer any questions you guys have. We would very much appreciate you listening to the show, myself and also Shane and my counterpart, who I will turn it to now for his closing comments, Mr. Viggy Betts.
Appreciate you, Ken, as always, at Viggy Betts on Twitter. We have one more NRFI for this evening. Unfortunately, the first one did not go our way. The Braves and the Dodgers with Charlie Morton and Walker Buehler on the mound. Hopefully we'll cash this one, finish 1-1 on the night, and move on to Wednesday. But appreciate you, like always, Viggy Betts on Twitter.
Awesome. And like
Smash
always,
that like button.
Smash it.
Like always, you can follow me at Ask Us Sports or at S_Miller_27. That's my personal. I tweet from both. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Come check out Ken. Again, like Out of Bagels just said, find someone breaking cheaper than ECBC. You can't, because there isn't.
I don't think so.
So check them out. Pay attention to my my Twitter. I'm actually going to be posting a few lots tomorrow. I'm going through a lot of my cards. I found some pretty decent stuff I'm willing to let go to pick up a couple PC items. Trying to pick up a couple different Pulisic autos. So we'll see how that goes. But, anyways, I love you guys. Thank you for listening, and have a great week.
All that was real is left behind. Don't fight it, it's coming for you, running at you. It's only this moment.